Undisputed cruiserweight champion Oleksandr Usyk has no business campaigning at heavyweight. You're watching Remstar Says So. It's rumored that Oleksandr Usyk will be having his first fight at heavyweight on the 18th of May on DAZN somewhere in America. Um, this one's a crazy one for me. Um, I just don't see the point. Oleksandr Usyk to me should look to continue to defend his undisputed cruiserweight titles, or even if he gets stripped of one or two, look to make a long-term defenses of his unified championships if he's no longer undisputed. I don't really see the point in Usyk coming up to heavyweight. I mean, when you look at the heavyweight division, he's going to be one of the smallest guys in the division, height-wise, reach-wise. Oleksandr Usyk is not known for packing a big punch. And the heavyweight division, like these guys are known for, knocking people out. When you look at the top guys in the division, your AJs, your Wilders, to an extent, a Dillian White, Tyson Fury, even though he's not that big of a puncher, could still knock anybody out if he really put some weight behind it. Luis Ortiz. I just don't see how Oleksandr Usyk is really going to come up and make a dent in the heavyweight division. I already made a video a couple of weeks back, sort of identifying who I believe to be in the top four of the heavyweight division, and I just couldn't see Oleksandr Usyk beating any of those guys. Um, when I actually look about some of like the sort of fringe level contenders, it's rumored that he may be fighting Alexander Povetkin on the 18th of May, and that would be a good test. If he can get through Povetkin, who is like a sort of aging, past it, um, previous world title challenger, if he can get through Povetkin, maybe, just maybe, he could become a fringe level. But I just don't see him beating anybody in the top four. He's got a couple of years on Luis Ortiz, so could we be looking at him replacing Ortiz, who's basically in the last year or last 2 years, most likely, of his career? But let's look at some of these heavyweights. Could I see Povetkin beating Dillian White? As much as I don't think Dillian White is a good boxer, I just think that Dillian White would be too much for him. And when he catches him with that left hook a couple of times, I think it might be night-night. I think Alexander Povetkin, if he came up, he'd be coming to use his superior speed, his superior footwork, head movement, boxing skills to get on the inside and start doing some sort of damage, similar to what we saw him doing when he won the Undisputed Championship against Gassiev in the Muhammad Ali tournament final, or even against Tony Bellew, and then he sort of caught him and took him out. My issue is that could he withstand heavy bombs from AJ or, the big puncher of the division, Deontay Wilder? I don't think so. I think that Eddie Hearn is just trying to milk this man by pushing him up to heavyweight. And I think, he's going to have a couple of fights and then AJ is going to take his head off. And I think this entire campaign is just to make AJ look like a better boxer. But I don't really see the point in fighting Usyk. He's not a natural born heavyweight. The man is already in his 30s. Like, what is he doing? Like, sort of stepping up to the heavyweight division now. I think what he should really be doing is looking at staying down in that division. Here we go. He's 32 years old now, trying to step up to the heavyweight division. Let's have a look at his physical statistics. 32 years old, 16 professional fights, undisputed champion at cruiserweight. How tall is he? 6'3" with a reach of 78 inches. So he's small. He hasn't got a good reach. Against most of the elite fighters, he'll be sort of having to come in, trying to evade a jab and trying to work their body and sort of breaking them down. The good thing about Usyk is that he's a natural southpaw, and southpaws have been known over the term to sort of give damage and frustration to orthodox stances. The main reason why is because there's a lot less southpaws than there are orthodox fighters, and because of that, orthodox fighters often don't know how to fight against the southpaw, whereas most southpaws will be fighting and training against orthodox people because there's just a lot more right-handed people than there is left. But when you look at Oleksandr Usyk's sort of pedigree, Olympic Games 2012, that's where AJ won gold. He also won gold. He won gold at heavyweight. AJ won gold at super heavyweight. He won the world championships at heavyweight in 2011, and he won gold at the European heavyweights. No, he was light heavyweight in 2008 at the European championships. He has got a great amateur pedigree, and this is a man who really knows his craft. Coming from this Ukrainian boxing circle where the Ukraine just seems to continuously push through great boxers time and time and time again. I think he'd just be better staying down at cruiserweight and sort of marking out a legacy of trying to become one of the greatest cruiserweight champions the world has ever seen. I understand the pressure of wanting to move up to heavyweight because there's bigger fights at heavyweight, and there's most likely going to be a lot more money there. But why not carve out a career for yourself and try and make the cruiserweight division as big as you possibly can? I think a lot of what Eddie Hearn is doing now is he's trying to get Usyk to step up to heavyweight to try and position his man Lawrence Okoli um, an opportunity to try and pick up one of these belts that will probably be vacant when Usyk moves up. But let's have a look at Usyk. Coming from the Ukraine, he hasn't actually fought in his home country since December 2015. Since then, it's been Poland, America, Germany, Latvia, Russia, and Manchester when he fought Tony Bellew. If this fight with Povetkin is signed on the 18th of May, I'm just wondering how Eddie Hearn is going to promote this. You've got two fighters fighting in America, in Chicago, Illinois, of all places, where the fight is rumored to be, and you don't have an American in the main event. I mean, that's the major reason why Eddie Hearn was struggling to get an opponent for Usyk, because you've got a Ukrainian fighter and you're trying to make him fight in America and England. What Eddie Hearn should have done is just like how he's recently put on a fight in Mexico with a bunch of Mexican and Latino fighters. He should have really gone to the Ukraine and try to open up that Eastern European market. I don't really see the appeal for Americans going to a boxing fight to watch two non-Americans that aren't based in America that they don't care about. Americans are very patriotic, and I'm really going to try and struggle to see how Eddie Hearn is going to sell this one to the American market. I mean, with the help of the Zone, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of promotion with it, but is this going to be a sellout? Is anybody going to care about it? He probably would have been better campaigning Usyk to the English market. And the reason why I say this is because the English market really got to know who Oleksandr Usyk was from like the sort of back end of 2017 when Oleksandr Usyk first stepped into the cruiserweight um, World Boxing Super Series tournament. All of those fights were on ITV and ITV Box Office, and the UK fans really got to see the cruiserweight division as a whole. Um, I don't really know if that tournament really kicked off in America and how much the Americans actually cared about it. And also, Usyk has just come off the back of knocking out and retiring Tony Bellew for the Undisputed Championship. So I think they would have been better off just having him campaign in England if they weren't going to go for Ukraine or the sort of Eastern European market. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that Usyk can make it in this heavyweight division? Should he be stepping up? Is there space for him? alongside all of the other killers. Is there any chance he's going to win a world title, or should he stay back down where he is and just reign supreme as the cruiserweight king? Leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe. You're watching Remstar Says So. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the next one.